Oh, do I have a hinge dating story for you? I do want to put a disclaimer that this story time might potentially put you off going on a hinge date or any particular date, especially an online one again.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
So don't say that I didn't warn you. But if you are new here, honey buns, my name is Antonia. Welcome to the channel. We do all type of reaction, lifestyle, travel content, a bit of Harry Potter in there as well. So if that is a bit of you, then make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. But further ado, let's get on to the story time.
Okay, so put a finger down if you've just got back from working 8 months on a cruise ship, decide to download Hinge, which is what you do. You put in your bio that you want to go to Winter Wonderland or like the Christmas markets for a spontaneous date. You match with this guy and he suggests that you meet in London as he's going to be there at the weekend and do like a spontaneous date. And he's actually from where you're from, which is Cornwall, and he's going to be driving back a few days later once he's been in London. So he says, you come up and then I'll drive us back. You FaceTime for a few nights. First FaceTime is like 5 hours long.
Wow.
You're honestly getting on so well. Like each other. It's all going really well. And you actually have a mutual friend as well. She says he's really like nice. So you're thinking, okay, great, perfect. So gets to the Sunday when you're going to be flying up. You spoke on the phone because he's going to be driving down from where he was, and everything's going well. You've got a full plan in place of what you're going to be doing. And it comes to the Sunday, you're at the airport, you tell him where you are, but don't get anything back. You tell him that your flight's delayed by 2 hours, so don't hear anything. So no safe flight, nothing like that. But you think, okay, no problem. You then get to London 2 hours after you're meant to, so there's no actual train that you can get to your hotel because it was like an evening, night, like late flight. And you have to pay £70 for an Uber to get to your hotel. You get to your hotel at 1 a.m. and you actually let him know, I've only just got to my hotel. Monday morning comes around, it's like 10 o'clock now, and you've still not heard from him. So you're thinking, what's going on? I've come up here to see you, not heard from you. So you message and you're like, I made it. He replies straight away to say, oh, well, hey, that's amazing. What, made it to your hotel? And you say, no, I made it last night at 1 a.m, but you never replied. So then you just go about your day. You know you're seeing him later that day. Finally, it comes around to meeting him. He comes to your hotel, meet him, all good, like getting on really well.
Okay.
Meant to be going out for dinner and you have got yourself ready, but he wants to just get a takeaway and chill in the hotel. Okay, you go along with it. You're happy to have like a chilled evening. You get welcome mamas. He pays for it, really grateful. Whatever. Bear in mind, I'd paid £200 for the hotel. He hadn't paid anything towards the hotel whatsoever. So he stays the night. The Tuesday morning comes around, and on the Tuesday he was going to training in the morning, and then you're meeting him at about 3 o'clock. And he says to you, okay, I'm going now, I'll see you at 7. And you're like, hold on a minute, what do you mean you're seeing me at 7? And he said, well, I'm going to go see my friends for a few hours, then I'll just meet you in London at 7. But that wasn't the plan at all. You were meant to be doing the markets in like the afternoon, and then in the evening going to Winter Wonderland. So you're a little bit confused at this point, and you kind of ask him, what do you mean, why are you changing the plans? You never said you were seeing friends while you were here. And he's like, no, I was always going to see my friends while I was here. This was my plan all along. And you said, but we had plans. You never told me about these other plans. After going back and forward a little bit, not wanting to seem like a pain in the ass, you finally agree that you're going to meet at 6 o'clock in London. It's not really what you wanted, but you just have to go along with it, and you think, it's fine, I'm going to go and do my own thing today, enjoy myself. So that's exactly what you do. About 3 o'clock he asks what you're doing. You say you're just getting in the tube into London, and then at 4:30 he replies back saying he's just got to Clapham to see his friends. So 5:30 you message and say whereabouts you are in London, just so that he knows in time for being there for like 6ish. 6 o'clock comes around, no reply. 6:15, still nothing. So you message him and ask what time you're going to be meeting. And then I was really struggling to get like 3G in London, and I was trying to find somewhere to connect to Wi-Fi. So finally connect to Wi-Fi at like 6:30, and you got a missed call from him. You call him back, no answer. So then he messages you and he says, what would you say if I said, I'll see you tomorrow morning, we'll go for breakfast and hang out tomorrow, then we'll go to my rugby game, stay together Wednesday night, and then on Thursday I'll drive us back to Cornwall. So cancelling on you, cancelling your plans for the Tuesday night when you were there waiting for him, when the Tuesday plans were the reason you had gone to London, the reason he invited you to go to London. So you're pissed at this point. You call him, he answers, he asks, you okay? And you're like, no, not really, what's going on? And he's like, well, you know, I need to see my friends, so yeah, I'm going to see them tonight, so you can just do the markets and Winter Wonderland by yourself, and I'll see you tomorrow. I was like, I'm not doing it by myself. The reason I've come here is to do it with you. You've invited me here. I spent hundreds of pounds and now you're just cancelling on me when I'm waiting in London for you. And he's like, no, not at all. You can still do the plans, so the plans aren't cancelled. I was like, no, I came here to do it with you. You've invited me here for a date. This is what we're meant to be doing, and now you're just cancelling on me. But he didn't see what he was doing was wrong at all. Like, it didn't matter what I said, he wasn't getting it.
Wow.
So I ended the call, I got myself some sushi, and I went back to my hotel. He then texted me saying, sorry if my intentions were unclear of what I was doing whilst I was in London, but it's very important to me to see my friends because I'm probably not going to be able to see them till July next year. I still want to see you tomorrow. We can still hang out, so let me know what you want to do. You're thinking, I really don't want to see this guy again. However, he is my lift home and I don't want to spend £80 on the train to get home. So you sleep on it, you message him the next morning and you say, it's really wrong what you've done. You can't be doing that to people. However, if you want to see me, you need to give me a clear plan of what we're going to do today. So he messages back saying, what time do you need to check out of your hotel? You say 12. It's at like 10 o'clock at this point. So he's like, okay, well, I'm going to head into London. If you can meet me at this station, you can then put your stuff in my bag and then we'll hang out. So I'm like, okay. So I walk to the station, get a 40-minute tube to the station where he is, and I've got 2 heavy bags with me at this point because he was meant to be taking my bags from the hotel because we were meant to be together, and I'd done some Christmas shopping because I knew he was driving us home. So you get there and no apology, but he gives you a hug. So you say, okay, can we go to the car? I can put my stuff in. He goes, no, I've got a better plan. You're like, well, no, my bags are really heavy. I don't want to be taking them around London. He's like, it's fine. I'll take one of your bags. But they're both heavy. You don't want to carry either of them. Okay. So he takes one of your bags and suggests that you go to a farmers' protest in the middle of London outside the Houses of Parliament, and it's a 30-minute walk away. And I have no problem with walking, but when you've got your heavy luggage, you're not really wanting to take that around London with you. And a farmers' protest really wasn't on my bingo card for that day, but you're just going to go with it. So anyway, you walk 30 minutes to the Houses of Parliament while making very, very awkward small talk, must I say. And you get there, and then you spend the next 2 hours of your life at this farmers' protest because he is so into it. And then you have to take photos of him in front of the tractors with signs about the farmers' protest, which he thinks is absolutely hilarious. And then he's making you walk up and down all the tractors, and you say that you haven't had breakfast or lunch and it is now like coming on 1 o'clock and you've been walking for nearly 2.5 hours and you'd quite like to sit down somewhere. And he is like, no, you can go to Tesco's and get something, which isn't really what I wanted to do.
Wow.
So then finally you make it back to the car. You still haven't eaten, you still haven't sat down, and this is about 1:30, and he says, okay, well, what's your plan for the next couple of days? And you're like, well, what do you mean, what's my plan? Like, we had plans, but then you keep cancelling them, so I don't really know what's going on at this point. And he was like, well, I feel like we probably shouldn't just like carry it on for the sake of it. Like, this spontaneous little trip hasn't really gone to plan, has it? And I was like, well, no, because you've cancelled it. And he's like, no, it's not my fault. And I was like, well, it's not my fault, is it? So whose fault is it? Because you're the one that cancelled the plans that we were meant to be having fun. I've come all this way here and I didn't even get to go to Winter Wonderland and do anything. You're going back and forth. He's not really getting it. He just thinks that he's actually delusional at this point. I can't even explain. So then he says, well, what would you say if I took you to the train station and paid for your train to get home? And you say to him, I think that's probably the greatest idea that you have had this whole time. So that's what he does. He drives you to the train station, and the whole time he's just boasting about how he had so many offers for plans the night before, the night that he was meant to stay with you. And he just loves London because there's always something going on. So you tell him he should move to London, and anyway, he drops you at the train station, you get out, and he pays for your train ticket, and you never see him or hear from him again.
Wow, I don't even fully know where to start with that. That was a wild adventure. Like, don't get me wrong, I feel like the transition completely changed, and obviously her vibe to him must have changed because she said like they were on like a 5-hour FaceTime call, they've got a mutual friend. So we eliminated the fact that he was a serial killer. Love that. We, spent the night with him on the first night. I don't know whether, I mean, obviously she didn't elaborate what happened. I'm hoping he didn't get one thing from it and then just, it's the vibe I'm getting, but I don't obviously want to assume that type of context around it because obviously I don't know. But it gives the vibe that he wanted her to come down for one thing, got the one thing, and then once he got it, he lost interest and didn't actually want to do the datey things that he said. And this is what drives me mad with these things, right? I never mind if someone doesn't want a serious relationship, if they just want one thing. But you being clear on them intentions, I think, is the most important thing. If he said to her, listen, come down, let's have a good night together, and that's it, do you know what I mean? She wouldn't have went with the expectations of we're going to go to Winter Wonderland because we've already agreed to do that. To cancel the date and stay with his friends, fair enough. Like, if he's explained to her beforehand, like, listen, I'm going to want to spend some time with my friends while I'm there, fair enough. Fair enough. But to do that once she's already arrived, I think that's really wrong. And especially, she said, like, paying so much money. Like, it's not cheap to stay in London in a hotel. I've personally paid for a hotel in, like, Watford when I went to go to the Harry Potter studio tour when I went on my own, and it is expensive. But I just, wild. Absolutely wild. Just set the intentions. Set your intentions. Like, what are you doing? Do you know what I mean? What are you doing? It drives me mad. I can't bear things like that. So please let me know any horrific dating stories that you've got. I don't think any of mine are to that extent, thank the God. I don't pray for any of that for me or for any of yous. But if you have any wild dating stories, please comment them down below. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. Just make it aware, be safe, be cautious whenever you're going to go on a date, especially if you're going to go and travel. If you're in your hometown, that's what I'd recommend staying, because obviously you can just go home, you don't have to put up with anything, and it's not as expensive. But if you want to put yourself out there, you do you. But that is it for today's video. Have a lovely morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you damn well are. I hope to see you in the next one, but for now, bye bye.